Over the past few hours, Iran has launched attacks on several U.S. allies in the region, Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain. There are reports of a Saudi oil refinery coming under an Iranian drone attack. Several U.S. planes have crashed in Kuwait, according to its Ministry of Defense. The crews of the aircraft are safe. Kuwait says it's investigating the cause of the incident. Fire and plumes of smoke have been seen near the U.S. Embassy. The embassy has urged people not to come to the compound and to take cover. A Saudi oil refinery has halted operations after a suspected Iranian strike. Saudi Arabia's defense ministry said 2 drones attempted to strike the plant and were intercepted. The ministry added falling debris caused a limited fire at the facility. The country's oil giant Aramco says it shut the Ras Tanura refinery as a precautionary measure. In Bahrain, smoke is seen at Salman port in the capital Manama following an attack. The port houses the U.S. Navy's 5th fleet. And loud bangs were also heard here in the Qatari capital, Doha, as its air defense system intercepted attacks from Iran. Qatar's Al Udeid Air Base hosts U.S. and other international forces. Since Saturday, across the Gulf, civilian infrastructure from seaports and airports to residential buildings and hotels have been hit in Iranian attacks. The Iranian Red Crescent says 555 people have been killed in 3 days of joint U.S.-Israel strikes across Iran. This was the scene in the city of Sanaj Daj, that's in Kurdistan province in the west of the country. The U.S. military says it struck more than 1,000 targets inside Iran since the beginning of the joint operation. Meanwhile, conflict is also spilling over into Lebanon, drawing in Iran's key regional ally, Hezbollah. Israeli strikes have killed at least 31 people, including a senior Hezbollah commander. Israel says the attacks are in response to Hezbollah firing a barrage of rockets and drones at northern Israel. All right, Al Jazeera's team of correspondents are live for us in Tehran, Beirut, Vienna, Washington, and Ramallah. But first, let's talk to Zein Basravi, who is in Doha. So, Zein, we know that there has been this several, according to the Kuwaiti Ministry of Defense, U.S. jets that have gone down. What do we know there?
That is correct. Just about an hour or so ago, the Kuwaiti Ministry of Defense confirming that several U.S. jets, not exactly putting a number on it, but saying several U.S. jets had been shot down or had crashed in Kuwait. Now, we've seen at least 2 separate-looking videos, 2 independent videos that seem to show 2 separate crashes. One, we see this aircraft spiraling, an F-15E Strike Eagle, spiraling, its tail on fire, trailing smoke, and crashing to the ground. 2 pilots there did manage to eject. That was also seen on social media videos that were posted, and then they were shown later on the ground being helped and assisted by locals. Another video seeming to show a crash happening over a more urban area. And in the past hour, we've had the Iranian army confirming that we targeted U.S. Ali al-Salem base in Kuwait and hostile vessels in the northern Indian Ocean with 15 cruise vessels. A television report quoting the Iranian military going on to say a hostile American F-15 fighter jet was shot down near the border with Kuwait. Now, a few hours ago, there were still some concerns as to exactly how these jets may have come down. There was some concern there may have been some kind of mistake or error or friendly fire. Investigations are still ongoing. It is still unclear, but the Ministry of Defense of Kuwait did confirm that search and rescue operations were carried out immediately, that all the pilots piloting those American aircraft were safe and were well. But it does seem now that Iran is claiming to have shot down at least one of those jets close to the Kuwaiti border.
So, Zein, we also know that there have been oil facilities in Kuwait and in Saudi Arabia that have sustained at least some level of damage from falling debris. What do we know about those situations and what this potentially tells us about the Iranian strategy in terms of its targeting?
Well, as far as the strategy goes, Iran is, if this is proved to be an Iranian attack, doing what it said it would do. It would attack military assets, U.S. assets. It would attack any allies of the United States in the region that were directly or indirectly cooperating with any sort of strike on Iran if Iran was to come under attack. That has happened. And now it is attacking soft targets as well. And as we know, since this conflict began, the playbook has largely been thrown out. The red lines have all been crossed by all sides. And so the way forward is really uncharted. So what we're seeing now is that Iran has attacked civilian airports. It is attacking civilian infrastructure. And in this case, in Saudi Arabia, Saudi's state oil company Aramco shut down the Ras Tanura refinery. Now, this is in the central part of the country, on the eastern coast, on the eastern side of Saudi Arabia, right along the waters of the Gulf. It is just across the Gulf from Iran. And what we are understanding is that this, one of the Middle East's largest refineries, a critical, crucial export terminal for Saudi crude, has been shut down. Operations have been shut down following a drone strike. We don't know if there's been any damage. We don't know how bad the attack is, but out of an abundance of caution for securing the infrastructure there, output and production operations at that have been shut down for now. And again, going back to what this illustrates about how Iran plans to move forward, as long as it continues to come under attack, as long as its infrastructure comes under attack, it will continue to take the war to U.S. allies in the region.